I think that where we should start is my favorite part of the offseason personally. I know everybody's probably got their preference, but I personally am always excited for free agency because you're like, who's my team gonna get? You know,
Right.
and in fact, like the Niners came away pretty good in free agency when we pulled the number one overall free agent in left tackle Trent Williams,
Yeah.
formerly of the Washington
Big
Redskins
Trent.
football team. Yes, exactly. Big Trent. We signed that man to a much deserved 6 year, $138 million deal. And I mean, I know some people were like, "Oh, that's a lot of money to pay a left
That is a lot
tackle."
of money.
It is a lot of money, but
But
I
he is like the
think
best in the game. So
he's the best in the game. And we've got a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo that's coming off a high ankle sprain where basically his ankle just about, snapped like a damn twig. So we need Big Trent in there. Um, so
keep
I
him
think,
protected, man. He's
yeah,
not as mobile as
I
Trey
know.
might be.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day, and I think I sent it to you where Kittle like pushed Jimmy in practice, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I think it would have been cool to just see like Big Trent just like jump in there and intercept it. Like I want to see him earning that money. Like if Jimmy's like about to slip on like some water in the grocery store, I want to see Trent just jump in there and just catch
Just
him.
dive in there and
Yeah,
cushion his fall.
yeah,
And just like, I'm
yeah,
here. I got
yeah.
you, bro.
I
I got you,
got
bro.
you. I got you.
We
Yeah,
can't have you.
exactly.
We can't have you getting hurt again,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
And in other retirement news, I would say the most important one to us being Alex Smith. He got the jersey there in the back.
Yeah. Alex
Point
Smith
that out
retiring.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go the other way.
Yeah, other way, other way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Got the Niners jersey, Smith
yeah,
jersey.
yeah. So
Kind
Alex
of
Smith.
sad he retired, but unfortunately, I mean, no one was going to pick him up. I remember saying, I know you thought that
Yeah,
someone might pick him up, but
I was hoping that they would. I didn't figure he would get a lot of opportunities to start. I remember that the one team that was kind of
mhm,
looking at him was Houston, and I mean they
yeah,
have their own quarterback issues right now, which I know we're going to get into here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, and they ended up picking up some other guys, so he ended up retiring. But yeah, I mean, to even come back and start 6 games on that
yeah,
leg
that was the greatest
was
comeback in
yeah,
NFL history, in my
yeah.
opinion.
I mean, you come in on a team that's fucking 1-5, like literally 1-5. I mean, Haskins and Kyle Allen were a combined 1-5.
Ugh,
Like they they did beat Dallas 25-3, but
yeah,
it was rough. So in the
that
rain.
was Allen though. That was Allen, not Haskins. So
Oh,
Allen is
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
little
yeah,
better than
yeah, yeah,
Haskins,
yeah, yeah. Kyle Allen knows the offense. Kyle
right?
Kyle Allen is Ron's boy. I think he's Ron's hidden son-in-law. Ron, if you're watching the show, call in and let us know. Is if Kyle Allen, because we know you like him. I know he knows the offense, but I saw that game that he played in 2019 against the 49ers on our way to the Super Bowl, and it was suspect. Suspect, Ron.
Kind of like Mullins, man. It's like I don't know if you should be keeping that guy around anymore,
Well,
but all
he's
right.
Nicky Mullins
Well, yeah,
went
he's
to the
gone, but
Fly Eagles Fly, baby.
which is hilarious. That is just that's wonderful. I mean, when I first saw, it, I was like, oh, that couldn't be any more perfect other than Dallas. Like, like, but the Eagles are going to be
uh,
trash next year. They're not going to be an issue.
Nicky Mullins, my boy, favorite Niners quarterback of all time, Nick Mullins.
Ugh.
Ugh. Yeah, but anyway, back to Alex Smith. Yeah, Alex Smith did the impossible. He came back. He not only returned, which I mean, like it's great enough if you return. Even if you got in one game, even if all he would have done was get in that Rams game and get sacked by Aaron Donald in the rain, like that would
That
have
was
been that
crazy.
would have been a feat. But that's not all he did, bud. That's
No,
not all he
he
did.
got back up and played the
He
whole
fucking
game.
came back
Like,
and he fucking won, dude. He came back and he won and he got Washington into the play.
did
And
they
and
win that game against the Rams?
no, they absolutely did not. But they won the
That's what I was.
following week.
Okay, I was like, no, they
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, no, he won. No, he won. He didn't lose that, or he did
That game
lose
was like
that
a
game.
nine
Yeah,
to three game or some shit, wasn't it? Because it was in
that
the
that
rain.
game
It was an
that game was
awful
shitty
game.
though when he came in though. Like in fairness
Yeah,
to him, like
yeah,
he
yeah.
was
The game
just
was already shitty. It really wasn't his fault.
yeah.
Like, I mean, that rain. Yeah, that was like that one Niners game from what was that 2 years ago? What was in the rain? Like
It was
Washington Niners.
2019. Yeah, the
Yeah,
nine to
that
three,
nine.
the
That
nine.
was a shit
Yeah,
show of a game.
yeah. It did produce some of Jimmy Garoppolo's best runs as a 49er.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, right? Didn't he have like 50 yards that
He
game or some
did.
shit running?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something totally
Jimmy
unlike him.
Jimmy scrambles. I love it. But yeah, Alex Smith. I hope you enjoy retirement. I hope you enjoy hanging out with your family. You deserve it, bud. I mean, you've had a
Yep.
great career. I know some people would question that and be like, "Oh, well, he was never that great." But I will tell you this, and this is a fact. Look it up. I mean, I don't know of really any quarterback off the top of my head that's had a winning record with three different franchises. I mean, that shit is hard to do. I mean, had a winning
Wait,
record
did
with
he
the
have a
Niners.
winning record with Washington?
Yeah, absolutely. He started
Really?
he started 17 games for him, and he was like, yeah, he was like, so he was his first season
Oh,
he was
you're
six.
counting from back in.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
years ago. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
He started 6-4 in 2018. Started 6-4, and then he got hurt,
And then he got hurt.
and then he started 6 games last year, and he was 5-1. So what is that like? That's 11
Damn,
and
I
11 and
that's I
6.
can't believe he was at 5-1. That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
Like I know it was just last year, but it's like, damn, like
yeah. I
that's
mean, he
awesome.
came in and got it done. And I mean, you
He
can
did.
question like he had a broken leg, and yeah, I mean he couldn't move around, but like the man is he can prepare, and that's what
He
he
had to
did.
wear a leg brace, like a
Yeah,
specific type of leg brace, because I guess he has like a dead foot now. I guess like where you can't lift it a certain like you can't if you lift your foot up
yeah,
straight,
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
can't do that. I guess like when he runs. So
Yeah,
without the brace on, he's not able to even like he couldn't even run. So he had that much damage when he has this brace on, like and without it, there's no way he could play. And he still goes out there.
yeah,
Aaron Donald jumps on his fucking back.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When that happened, my heart was like,
yeah. No,
like in my throat.
I
But
remember watching that. That was
yeah,
scary, and the fact that like he couldn't like. If you've ever tried to throw a football without planting your foot, like you lose a lot of the pop on that. I
hmm
mean, if anybody like hasn't tried it, go out and try to throw a football and like don't plant your foot first.
just
Just
stand
yeah,
still. Yeah,
yeah,
like
and you're not gonna get the same pop. And basically, like everybody was like shit talking Alex and like all of his like passes and everything, but basically what the guy was doing was like like it's amazing he's even out there.
yeah, he
Like
was doing what he could. I mean, he was
yeah,
always kind of a a captain check down kind of
yeah,
quarterback, but before he was hurt, he did at least he threw more at least. I mean, when he came back, obviously I feel like he was limited in that sense. He can't get that same like you're saying the planting. He doesn't have that ability to like throw it down the field like Aaron
yeah,
Rodgers. I think he threw maybe like a couple deep passes
yeah,
during those games, but most
yeah.
of his passes
He
were
did, and some of them actually looked pretty good. I remember one time he hit
yeah,
Terry on a deep touchdown.
Terry.
Yeah,
I think I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean, like he had the ability. I mean, but he's the man has made a good living for himself. He's got a good family. I think he's happy. He deserves retirement.
they should rename that.
He knows.
Last thing
Yeah,
about him is they
yeah,
should
yeah.
rename the award the Alex Smith, like the comeback player of the
Oh,
award. They should rename it the Alex Smith
100% agree.
Award.
100% agree. No player has come back through what he's come back. I mean,
And like last year when they were trying to compare like who's the bigger comeback, Ben Roethlisberger or Alex Smith, and it's like that is not even a conversation.
Ben recovering from his
Like
elbow.
that's fucking retarded that was
Oh,
even in the same breath. It's like, dude, no. Like there's literally like been no other injury like Alex's that bad
yeah. I
other than
mean,
Joe Theismann, but
yeah,
that was he didn't have
yeah,
the leg rot off like
yeah,
Alex did from his infection. I
yeah,
mean, he had better medical stuff, nowadays, but
yeah,
and Joe Theismann never played again. So it's
yeah,
weird. And the
yeah.
two worst injuries I can think of in the NFL are both on the Redskins. Like, great.
Maybe it's good they changed the name.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I
Maybe
mean,
it's
honestly,
not.
with the culture change, I'm happy about it. Like, I miss
Yeah,
obviously, I got
yeah.
all the rest and stuff. I miss the name. It'd be great to still have it, but this culture change makes me really, really like down with it. It's like, you know
It's
what? If
hard.
that's what
It's
it takes, then
yeah.
awesome. Like, if we're gonna start winning and like get to a Super Bowl again, it's like fuck it. If the
It,
name is the Washington football team, fine. I mean, I hope they
yeah.
end up picking Red Wolves. That's what
Yeah.
I'd like to see, but
It's
we'll
hard
see
to
what happens.
argue with what Ron's doing. I mean, it really is. It'd be you'd be hard pressed to. I mean, the man is coming in one short season. I mean, the amount of team like you don't make the playoffs a whole lot in your first year usually, especially coming off of like what they came off of. Like with
Mm-hmm.
all the
It was a pretty
characters.
nightmare season overall. Like,
Yeah,
but even though we got to the playoffs and that was the first time in a while, and that was great. Like getting there was really rough, and just the whole Alex coming back, that was really great though. I have to say that. I mean, that when he came back, that was like the greatest thing I've seen in Red and
It,
on the
it was
Redskins, and
it was great.
since
It was great to
RG3,
see.
like that
Yeah,
was so wonderful. Like, oh my God, this guy's back on the field. Like, what a
yeah.
miracle.
It was great to see him play. Yeah, I mean, I was super pumped. I remember when we were watching that game. That was really cool. We want to get into for the show, and this is probably the most exciting part of the show for our Niners and Redskins people, is we're gonna just talk about the latest and greatest happenings of the show. If you don't know how this show format works, you know, neither do we really at this
Yeah,
fucking
I
point.
was gonna say
But
we don't really
but
know yet
but
either, but
what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to cover, like the main stuff that's going on, the meat and potatoes of the league, and really just football in general every week, and then we're gonna get into just talking about what's going on with our specific team, because we do want to cater to our specific fans as well, but we want to make it a show that's enjoyable for everybody. So even if you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys or the Seattle the
right.
rainy city bitch
You're
pigeon
right.
Seahawks.
Yeah, you gotta say it. You
Yeah,
gotta say it.
yeah, I gotta
It's
say
so
it's
perfect.
yeah, yeah, it's the best
Like,
title I've
sorry, any
ever.
Seattle
Yeah,
fans,
yeah,
but like you
sorry.
gotta give it
I
credit.
mean, I hope
Rainy
you
City
guys.
bitch
I hope
pigeon.
I hope
That
you
is.
tu- I hope you tune in for episode 2, if for no other reason than if the Seahawks whoop our ass this season, you guys can talk shit to me, and that's fine. But I opened myself up for it. But I'm gonna talk shit to you too, Seattle fans. So just be ready. But yeah, let's talk about some Niners stuff, and then we'll get into the Redskins stuff.
One thing I will say is one thing we won't do on this show is like outright shit on players like for no good
Right,
reason.
right,
Just because we don't like the team or whatever, it is not gonna, like, like Dak Prescott. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah,
right.
fuck Dak. I hope he gets his leg broke. No, I'm not, that's not the way we work. So
I
you
did.
guys are like
Yeah,
people that really want
yeah,
to say
yeah,
like
yeah,
hateful
yeah,
things against the team you don't like. That's not the place for that.
yeah, yeah,
Other than a couple players that we don't like for other, for
yeah.
specific reasons, that's not really something we're about.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll go off on a quick tangent about this real quick, and then we'll get into that, because we were going to talk about that eventually too. Obviously, everybody can be their own type of sports fan. Like, do what you do. But yeah, on this show, if you're tuning into this show, like, that's not what we are. I mean, there was a point in time, I'd say, in our
Yes,
lives where, like I said, like
absolutely.
maybe I was, taking a shit on Tom Brady. Maybe I was. Maybe I was. But
I
then
definitely was.
but then you really find out, like what's going on, and like,
Hmm.
like Tom Brady is probably a great fucking man. Like outside of and they're all probably great. Like Aaron Rodgers is a fucking Mensa candidate who could host Jeopardy. Like, dude's super smart, and like always like grew up like a Niners. Like, the dude's like super like fucking genuine. You get to see his personality come out if you watch the Pat McAfee show. I mean, you really get to see how human and genuine these guys are. They're just like us. These guys are just like us. They're just normal people. Dak is a great person who did a lot for mental
Hmm.
health. Like, I
Yep.
mean, yeah. Like, I will never wish injury on these guys. Like, for that reason. Yeah. Like, I want to win, but if you think about it from a competitive standpoint, and being a competitor myself, do you want to beat a team that's like half-assed, like full of injuries, or do you want to beat a team at their best? Like,
Right.
you want
It's
to
like
beat the
like when the
best.
Niners and in
Yeah,
Washington played,
yeah,
and the Niners were all banged up, and with Mullins in there.
exactly,
It's like,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we won and all, like,
Right.
but it's like it really didn't feel, you didn't really earn it. And like they replayed that Chase Young fumble on Nick Mullins all the time, and they're like, oh
Yeah,
my God, one of the greatest play.
yeah,
Really hard to like look at that and be that like, I'm happy he got the recovery and the touchdown, but like it wasn't that impressive. It was Nick Mullins. Like, come on,
yeah, yeah,
let's cut it back a little bit there on the.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. But yeah, so that to kind of set your expectations. I mean, we're definitely, you know, always gonna show, because like these guys are great athletes that are doing something that, like, let's face it, like we couldn't be out there doing. So I mean, I'm not saying you gotta like act like they're, like godlike or anything, but like I just say, they deserve a little bit of respect. They've worked hard their whole lives. They got to the NFL, like, busted their ass. And honestly, if you don't like Tom Brady, maybe go watch the ESPN 30 story on Tom Brady, where like Tom Brady like gets all like, and you see the young Tom Brady, and he's like, nobody wanted me, and it's like kind of fucking sad. Like, you're like, Jesus Christ. I was like, all those teams passed on Tom Brady, and it's like, you fucking fools. We did it too. Gio Carmazzi is who we took, Niner fans. I hope you,
Oof.
if you don't remember him, then yeah, I don't blame you,
You
because he
don't
never
want you don't want to.
took like 3 consecutive sacks in the preseason, and he never came back. He's herding goats in the fucking mountains of Appalachia. Now, who the fuck knows? But anyway, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But let's start by talking about the draft. And I think we've got a lot to be happy about, Niners fans. We started out this year's draft by we got in it. I mean, we were doing all kinds of wheeling and dealing, and John, John moved us up and got us all the way up into third with his wheeling and dealing, which John Lynch is from a guy that had no front office experience, this dude is a fucking solid GM. Like John Lynch
Yeah.
has come to play. Like he would ring your bell as a safety. Like and now like Hall of Fame worthy John Lynch, by the way. Hall of Famer John Lynch. Congrats. Congrats. Congrats, John Lynch. That's right. That's right.
Oh my phone.
Also, yeah, let's give it up actually for all the Hall of Famers this weekend.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
that
right.
everybody that was
Congratulations.
yeah, we had Troy Polamalu getting in. We had a lot of
He
legendary
definitely
players
deserved
getting
it.
in. He did. So
Palamalu.
yeah, yeah. As Pat would say, Polamalu lining up in the C gap. He's never done it before in his life. When Pat would have thrown a touchdown pass in Pittsburgh, Pat the Pittsburgh native. I love listening to that story. I've probably listened to him tell that like 4 times. But yeah, we moved up to the number 3 pick, and there was a lot of questions about who we were going to get in the draft, whether it was going to be Mac Jones, Justin Fields. There were a lot of hot quarterback prospects for months. It seemed like everybody was debating that. Is it going to be this guy? The Niners groups that I was a part of, everybody had their opinion, but I liked Trey Lance, and I know everybody's going to be like, oh, it's easy to say after that. But I was saying things about Trey Lance before because he comes from a pro style offense at North Dakota State, the same offense that produced Carson Wentz. So, I mean, they know how to adapt quarterbacks to playing in the NFL. Pro style offense basically means they use the shotgun and like multiple receiver sets where the quarterback's not playing under center all the time. In case, for the viewers out there that didn't know that. Um, so we got him. That's going to be an exciting element. Even though Jimmy is our starter, gotta support Jimmy G. It's going to be exciting to have a different element to our offense. I mean, this is like what the New Orleans Saints basically killed the league with the last couple years, using the Drew Brees and Taysom Hill packages and stuff. I mean, we've already got potentially the best rushing offense in the NFL. Between what Juice does, what our offensive line does, and our group of running backs. Like if you had a quarterback that can run, and he's lining up, and we've got Jimmy split out wide as a receiver, Trey Lance is in the backfield. You don't know if Trey Lance is going to take that snap and run. You don't know if he's going to throw. It's going to
Right.
add a lot of excitement. Like this is going to be really cool to see. And I mean, Kyle's the kind of guy that can scheme up a lot of things. I mean, the man is an offensive genius.
Yeah, those dual threat quarterbacks are definitely the most exciting to watch.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, watching Lamar
yeah,
is just
yeah,
great. Like,
yeah.
it's
That's
always entertaining to
that's
watch him.
lightning in a bottle. Like anytime I can watch the Ravens game, I'm always trying
Right.
to because of what he can do. And talking about that, like our quarterbacks, whoever is going to be quarterback, we talked about Trent Williams earlier, big old Trent, and we also drafted Aaron Banks in the second round out of Notre Dame. He's another, he's penciled in or projected as a guard, so he's probably going to play inside, but that's another guy that's projected to be a potential starter. So right now, you look at what the Niners' offensive line is. Being Trent Williams, Alex Mack at center, who we got for in a who we acquired in free agency from the Falcons. You've got Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. Aaron Banks playing one of the guard spots, and Laken Tomlinson playing the other guard spot. So I mean, you look at potentially that's a really good offensive line, and I mean, with what we have the potential to do, and that kind of ties into the next pick. In the third round, we took Trey Sermon out of Ohio State University, and the Niners already have they've always had a good compilation of backs um, since Kyle's been there. But we did lose 2 guys. We lost Tevin Coleman and Jarek McKinnon in the offseason. So basically, in the selections of Trey Sermon in the third round and Elijah Mitchell in the sixth. We're replacing those two guys, and both of those guys have looked really good in camp so far as well. I mean, Trey Sermon is potentially going to get a lot of the second team reps, and be the next back that comes in usually after Raheem. And of course, that's big because Jeff Wilson is probably going to be out the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. The Niners also addressed corner, picking up Ambry Thomas. They also got an offensive lineman, Jalen Moore, in the fifth round, and Talanoa Hufanga, the safety out of USC, who is like a wild man. Like I'm excited to see him light somebody up. Like he's a really hard hitting safety. Hopefully, like in our mold of like a Cam Curl like guy, like or maybe like a
Oh hell
Landon
yeah.
Collins, like maybe play up around the line of scrimmage and like just pop running backs as they try to run through the hole. But yeah, I mean, and that's going to be exciting. I mean, we added to an already loaded team. The Niners, obviously, they've been for the last couple of years the best, one of the best teams in the league. They just have had some unfortunate circumstances um, occur.
Yeah, last year, especially with all those injuries, that was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like awful, man.
yeah. And I mean, and so far everything's going great in camp. I'm not even gonna like mention because I don't want to, talk about like what the best part of camp is so far. Any true Niners fan will know what the best part of Niners camp's been so far, and that's that all ties into that. So we're just we're knocking on wood and we're just hoping for the best here. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna move on from that. and yeah, but what is interesting is that's going on at camp is some of the key position battles are for our number three receiver spot. Right now, it looks like that's coming down to Mohamed Sanu, Jalen Hurd, and also Juwan Jennings is looking pretty good out there. Those are all guys that obviously Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are going to be
I
our ones and two, but yeah, it's really going to figure out who's going to shape out the rest of that roster. There's also guys like Richie James who really stepped up for us during the injuries last season and showed that he can not only be a return guy but also a receiver. So that was
mhm.
big. Um, but yeah, we've got some good players in there. I think that the Niners receiver room has the potential to, if we can actually get Jalen Hurd on the field this year. I
That's what
think
I
we've
was
got,
thinking. If Jalen
yeah,
Hurd ends up being really good, then
yeah.
with
It's
Brandon
like,
Ayuk
please
and Debo
God, let's get him
Samuel,
on the field. Like
that's
for the
gonna
love of
be
fucking God, like
yeah,
yeah,
like I like Washington's, new,
yeah,
between Samuel and Terry and all, but if Jalen Hurd turned out to be good, I think
yeah.
they'd be
Jalen Hurd
a better
is,
receiver for.
the one preseason we got to see him play. He caught 2 touchdowns against like Dallas. I know it's the preseason, so you got to adjust your expectations. But one was like a back
Right.
shoulder throw, and like he just looked great. The kid's 6'4". He's built more like a tight end, but he plays wide receiver. I mean, you get him in that offense, like that's going to be good. I mean, plus we've got Kittle, obviously Kittle, the best tight end in the game because he can block. I know all you Chiefs fans will probably be
Well,
pissed, but
some would argue it's Kelsey, but
yeah. Well, when
yeah.
when Kelsey can block like Kittle can block, come talk to me. I know Kelsey's always gonna have the receiving numbers, but again, when you have an offense that
Yeah.
basically forces you to throw the ball to like one player over and over again, then that's fine, I guess. But we don't have that, and Kyle, I think, would rather run the ball 40 times than throw it 40 times. So
It's like my favorite Madden strategy: just run tight end attack and just win
yeah, yeah.
this.
I mean, it does work. It does work. I mean, obviously you've seen the
It
Chiefs
does.
make it work, but that's what's going to be excited. We've also got some position battles shaping up at safety. We're going to see what's going to happen. There's a lot shaking up at that position. We're going to see if mainly Jaquiski Tart can stay healthy. That's going to be the big thing because last season he was limited to about 7 games. So I think that's kind of why we brought in Talanoa Hafanga. Is because we know that both him and Jimmy Ward have kind of been banged up at safety a little bit. But we've also got Tavarius Moore, but he's starting off the season injured as well. So that adds a that adds a little bit of a wrinkle into it. But I think we've got the players there to be good. And like I said, this has been a team that the Niners have been building to be deep for the last several years. So I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, as long as the injuries stay away and aren't like
Yeah,
last year,
yeah,
he'll
exactly. Just
definitely
like
be really.
please,
That's really
yeah,
the only thing. It's like,
yeah,
just please God, no
yeah,
injuries. Like.
yeah, exactly. I got like the little prayer hands emoji up there. Yeah, yeah, please. But yeah.